All right, guys, we are live. Today, we're talking about how to make 2K a day in wholesaling. And what I really love about this, instead of just saying, hey, you can make 60K in a month, let's show you how you can earn 2K a day. And I've actually done this exact formula for you, and we are going to break it down. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Rick Ginn. You're on the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. You guys probably know my son, Zach, and we pair up together on Thursdays on the Flip with Rick channel. You can check it out on YouTube, but today it's all about Rick. So if you guys like my approach and my style, this is the place. So on your side column there, you have the comment section. Please introduce yourself. This is what I like to call a safe place for investors, wholesalers, people that want to do real estate deals, specifically wholesaling. I do everything. I started out wholesaling and I still wholesale, for full disclosure. People get away from wholesaling, typically wind up going into coaching, but that's another conversation. But use the comments. So introduce yourself, pair up with people here, make sure you vet whoever you do business with. And this is a perfect place to ask a question. If you have a question, you're a little camera shy, boom, put it in there. And that's what I came on Monday evenings for, so I could connect with more of you and give more opportunity. Also, you'll see in the comment section under the Rick Ginn post, there is a link if you want to connect with me. And if you just want to talk, you want to talk about wholesaling, if you want to talk about your mindset and getting the wholesaling, or you actually want to work on a deal, I'll do any and or all. Also, you don't have to do video. If you just want to like chime your voice in and you want to do that live interaction, here's all I ask on the live interaction is let's solve problems. So if you're stuck in your mind, let's work on that. If you're stuck on a deal, if you're stuck on your marketing, if you want to talk about probates, tax delinquencies, evictions, reverse driving for dollars, any strategy, I am wide open. So once again, my name is Rick Ginn. I've been wholesaling for 20 years plus. I'm pretty much addicted to this. I think I've proven you guys after 21 years, I'm not going anywhere. So I am a safe person to work with. And also, if you guys are brand new to it and go, what the heck's this guy talking about? I want you to go over, we have a free course that me and my son's designed. It's right here on the bottom, freewholesaling.com. You can go there. It will always be 100% free because I believe the only thing that separates you from getting started in wholesaling is your own mindset. I don't believe there should be a financial barrier just to learn the basics, but that's my opinion. So take me up on it. I will never hit you up for a credit card on freewholesaling.com. It's 100% free. And honestly, I've had close to 100,000 people have massive success on this. So I know for a fact that we have the most successful wholesaling course in the entire country, if not the entire world, considering it's done in the United States. So go ahead and take advantage of it. And if you don't believe me, go on Wholesaling Houses for Real. You'll see tens of thousands of people posting checks on there. Here's the difference, guys. What most gurus and people won't tell you, it's you are the difference maker. The information is all out there. You actually have to apply it and do the steps. So that's why today's topic is a perfect segue for me to teach you. Also, make sure you smash that like button. It helps more people just like you connect with people like myself and my son, who are all about wholesaling, about giving you the truth and just having fun doing it. And please make sure on the Rick Ginn channel, if you're just watching this, you're tuning in, make sure you subscribe, because those of you that subscribe, I will make sure you get the best content humanly available. Not only do you get the live streams, you can get them recorded. I also release a few videos each week about topics that are very relative to wholesaling, what's going on in today's market. We talk about laws and changes. We also talk about your mindset, and then we go into deep in probates and all the different types of marketing you can do. So make sure you are subscribed. So let's get into it. Introduce yourself, and let's see here. Let's jump in and talk about the 2K a day and how we can do it. So the first thing you got to understand is we're talking about reverse speed wholesaling. So if you look over my shoulder here, that's how fast I need you to go in wholesaling, because if you think you're just going to drive by at 2 to 3 miles an hour, you're kidding. You have to punch that gas, meaning you actually have to take the action and do the steps, because you are not going to get home and have a motivated seller sitting in your driveway. You and only you have to go out and get them. So the best one we do, we talk about reverse speed wholesaling. And we're basically going to flip this process around and turn it on its backside and do it backwards. So this technique I'm teaching you today is all about speed. So if you're a speed junkie and hey, Rick, I need to get a deal now. I need a deal instantly. And you don't have the 60, 90, or 180 days to wait that a lot of us take to do it, because it took me some time to do my first deal. This is the method I'm going to teach you, and here's how it goes. So we're talking about speed. I need you to go 458 miles an hour. Now, listen, I'm not going to say it's not sustainable, but I'm going to teach you how to systematize it after this so you can get regular, steady leads. And understand this. This is for someone that wants to run and get a deal right away, or maybe you've been in stuck mode for the last 90 days and you can't get a deal. So what this does is it accents the speed of a transaction. So what we do is reverse engineer it. So if you're going to reverse engineer a wholesale deal, here's the order you need to do it in. Okay. The first thing you got to do is you got to find the buyer. Why? Because the buyer is actually your customer. So many of you think that the seller is the customer. The seller is actually the product. The cash buyer is the customer. So if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. Now, a lot of you were taught for the last, 10 years, don't worry about the cash buyer. It's a terrible, although you mentally could basically operate that way, the problem now is if you operate that way, it is completely 100% caught up with you. So go back to finding your cash buyers. How do we do that? You find so here's the formula. Let me, before I break it down, we're going to find the buyer. You're going to find the area where other wholesalers are having success, and then you're going to start marketing. You have to do it in this order. If you want to do speed, you have to do the cash buyer first. End of story. And if you go, oh, Rick, I don't want to do the cash buyer, then don't do this method because it's not going to work. You have to have the cash buyer, because once you have it, you're able to go with speed. Why? Because you are going to cut the transaction time in half, if not by 80%, by doing this technique. So once we're going to go with this speed technique, and it is speed, I repeat to you, speed, like the movie Speed, this goes fast. If you do the cash buyer last, this method won't work. So I need you to understand that, and you need to grasp that concept. So we're going to attack every possible motivated seller lead in a tiny, tiny little radius of where those cash buyers you have already are. You see, if you already have the cash buyer and you vetted them and they're willing, able, and ready to buy, and they have a wet appetite to buy a wholesale deal, then you've already figured out almost half the transaction. So because here's the key is, a lot of you miss this, is you know exactly what they'll pay you for that product. So if you know what they're going to pay you for product, it's actually going to help you when you do your negotiations, especially for those that are brand new. So the real question is, how do we find the cash buyers? This is in my opinion, it's the easiest part. So the first one is just cold call the cash sales. How do I get the cash sales? Go online. You can go on public record in your county sites. You can go on PropStream. You can go on Batch, listria.com. The list goes on and on. The data is all there, and that's an easy one to do. The second one, call for rents. People that have for rent signs, especially that are handwritten, are typically the landlord's cell phone number. It's gold. You don't have to skip trace it. It's ready, and they are a wealth of information, and you definitely want to follow on that. So guys, if you want to hop on the one-on-ones, jump on, because I am almost full. So hop on there and stands in line first, just so you guys know. So I love people do stuff quick, man, especially when it's free. You can't get hurt here. You know that old trick, the first 3 people that sign up, I'm going to give a special bonus. I can't stand that. The other one is, guys, you guys often overlook, and I made a killing on my the beginning of my career wholesaling, is I went to realtors and got the cash buyer. I know what you're thinking, like, well, aren't I gonna make less with a cash buyer through a realtor? No, you actually make more. Why? Because they've already vetted them. They typically put a higher price. And here's the secret is the realtor will push their commission and fees onto their end buyer in most cases, especially if you set it up front and it's all negotiable. And they really cut your transaction time. A lot of deals I sell, the realtors will look at it for their cash buyers, and they've already built that trust. They've spent 6 months, if not years, excuse me, with their cash buyer, and you can piggyback on that relationship, but you got to reward them for it. They don't work for free. Neither should you. Auctions, another dynamite spot. Every town has a local auctioneer. They're typically family businesses, have been around a long time, 50 to 100 years. A great spot for seasoned cash buyers. It's also, you're going to find those realtors with cash buyers. They love to show up to these things, and the smart realtors will pick off a few deals and do it from there. Guys, one you guys often overlook for cash buyers is title companies. And I'm telling you, man, title companies are gold. They know everybody in town who has cash and who's actually really doing deals. You can't walk in cold to a title company and give me all your cash buyers, but once you form a relationship and you're giving them business, they're more than happy to volunteer this information for you. In fact, half my cash buyers come from title companies alone. But I got to be honest, in the beginning, I never asked because I didn't know. So by doing this, by finding the cash buyer first, you got to understand the process eliminates the time that most wholesalers waste in dispo. Most of you guys put a property under contract. You have no idea if you got the right price. A lot of you don't use the go for no method. I get it. You didn't go through the freewholesaling.com course yet. And you throw a price out there. You're so excited. You got the contract. You tell everybody in the world, and then you start calling 2 or 3, usually 1 or 2 cash buyers, and reality sets in. And you just figured you probably overpaid for the property. And now you have this long transaction that's going to drag on well past your 15, 30, or 45-day inspection period. And this is what I'm talking about. If you can take that transaction time and cut it by half, if not 3/4, that's what we're talking about, the name of the game in speed. But you can only do this if you find your cash buyer first. And if you come to me and go, hey, Rick, I tried this method. I go, well, did you get your cash buyers first? No, I'm going to do that at the end. You're not using this technique. It doesn't work. So some of the disadvantages, you misses out on like potential deals. The advantage, let's talk about that. It's just zero excuses. Either you do it or you don't. There is no if, ands, or but. So if you want to do the speed method and somebody connects with me this Thursday when I'm doing the lives with Zach, and you go, hey, I tried the speed method, but I have a deal and I can't sell it. I already know what the answer is. You definitely didn't talk to your cash buyers. So it's either you do this method or you don't. And that's why I like it. It's very dry. It's very to the point. Your margins are going to be thinner. I'll be brutally honest with you, but you get that speed to deal faster than anything else. And honestly, if you're looking to pay your rent, make your car payment, take your girl out, and you're on a deadline, this is, in my opinion, one of the only options that you need to get a deal in under 30 days or less. So the next thing is, now that we've established the cash buyers, the next thing is, hey, Rick, how am I going to market and do this? And now you're just going to attack your list and your channels for marketing. So your list is basically your prospects. These are anyone that potentially could sell you a house at a discounted price. So we start with a list. Then we take that list and then we apply a marketing channel to attack it. So remember, we're doing this on a very, very fixed cost. So if we're going to do that, you need to find every government list in that zip that your cash buyers that you're targeting. Now, remember, it's a very, very narrow radius, and it might overflow to some other stuff. Guys, these government lists are the secret to getting highly motivated sellers and moving with speed. Because remember, if I have a cash buyer that's going to pay me a fair price for it, and I know the target range are going to do it, I already know where the price should lie. The only thing left to find out is the seller motivated, and what is the true rehab or the ARV minus rehab on this property. Now, what I want you to add is the reverse driving for dollars and just plain old driving for dollars to them because they work. Why? Because it's specific to a zip code. You can go block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, and it works. I will tell you, reverse driving for dollars is probably the most often underutilized lead generation because everybody wants to sell you this super sexy piece of software. Well, I come from old school, man. An old school guy gets in his car, goes finds an ugly house, tracks down the owner, and tries to work a deal with them. And then when you get a deal, it's really easy to sell. I can't tell you how many times I've got a list of 10,000 people, and I drive by 5 ugly houses every day. I go, no, that's probably under contract. There's no good. And I wind up getting on that list. I spend thousands of dollars between the list, the skip tracing, the cold calling, the mailing. And I could have just gone and either knocked on the door or used this option, a reverse driving for dollars sticky note. It would have had the exact same effect. And honestly, if I didn't have the money to do it, which back then I didn't, this is the method I would have done. Now, I door knocked back then. That's what I did today with the advent of Ring doorbells. It's a little bit more challenging, and I advise against doing that. So, okay. I'm moving on, guys. I'm trying to get through this as quick as I can and actually teach you a lesson, and then we're going to jump on the lives because we're not quite full, but we're just about there. Now, do I need to mention this one anymore? I didn't put it up. I was actually just on Wholesaling Houses for Real. If you guys get a chance, go out there and check out. If you're not a member of that, join it right now. I have a gentleman by the name of Jason. He's going to show me proof, so I'm going to give him time to do it. But he applied the probate strategy. He did it. He just took my information, but he's the one who gets credit for doing it. Went out. He's doing his first deal. Now, this is not an expectation, guys, but this is what I'm telling you, the potential for deals out there. Always do probates. They're slow. There's not a ton of leads. And over a year's time, if you apply yourself, I promise you, it will usually work out. I can't guarantee it, but it increases your odds exponentially. Now, I'm not sure it's Jason's first deal. Hopefully, I'm going to get him on Thursday. He's doing a deal via assignment on a probate for $72K. Why? Because he tried. He didn't try. He did it. And he just followed through and did exactly what I told him to do. And honestly, the hard part in wholesaling is committing your heart to the process of what you're doing. Because your body, which is your unconscious mind, is telling you, hey, you're in unfamiliar territory. It's very uncomfortable. Let's go find something familiar. Let's go bitch to our family. Let's go complain to our friends. Let's go shoot pool. Let's go drink a beer. And people like Jason take this risk. And they think it's risk, and it's not. Risk is sitting in your old self, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. 72K. How many people on this stream would that change your life dramatically? And here's the cool part. Jason didn't pay me 10 grand. I just said, Jason, go out and do it. I believe in you. And if Jason wants to partner up on the deal, he had that option. But Jason decided to take it on his own. And I'm proud of him for doing that because I want everybody to win. I'm not here to suck all the money out of your wallet. You guys want to partner up on a deal with me through sellmypaper.com, knock yourself out. I'll help you out. But if you have a truly motivated seller and an easy deal and you can harvest all the money, take it. I love that strategy. So probates. Remember, the person who lasts the longest in probates always wins. The person who does it for 30 or 90 days, you might as well just never even start it. Water shutoffs. I don't need to go in detail. You just go to your utilities. You ask for a list of properties that they've shut off the water. Why? Because when the water shut off, there is usually gold there in it. Code violations. These are people who usually, so we look for ones with high grass, tarps on the roof, deferred maintenance, just plain ugly properties. And you go through your county or your city to get that list. Pre-foreclosures, you're going to get at your local courthouse. Pretty straightforward. And then tax delinquencies. A golden one, and here's the key with tax delinquencies. You only pull it once a year, guys. If you can fight and get this list once a year, which is a public record, you got to get through their privacy policy. And remember, to overcome resistance, you have to beat it with resistance. I'm sorry, to overcome resistance, you have to use persistence. And persistence is the ability to get back up no matter how many times somebody knocks you down. Tell me if you can relate. It's the truth. And then evictions, which come out on a weekly basis at your local county courthouse steps. If you catch a tired landlord in the heat of a moment on a bad eviction, that is the best time to get them to sell. I've been doing this 20 years. Evictions are probably one of my top type of deals I take over. Why? Who likes a bad tenant? Most people get into real estate and they think it's a stock. I'm going to buy a property for $200,000. They're going to pay me $2,000 a month, and I'm just going to sit back, and the property will be worth 405, 10 years, and it'll be good. Here's the reality of it. The tenants stop paying. They have no cash flow. They have to hire a lawyer to evict them. They trash the house, and then sometimes the market goes slightly backwards, and they wind up losing $50,000 or $60,000. And they go, listen, just take it. I don't want to deal with it anymore. And then people like you and me, we look at the opportunity that we can do it, and that's how we get great deals. So a lot of people get into real estate that never belong there, and this is the place to find them. Arrest records, I've gone into detail on this one. Listen, people get arrested that own homes that go away for 2, 3, 5 years. Typically, it's hard to get someone to take care of the house. They need the money anyways. And there's a lot of drama in these lists, but man, is there a lot of money. I'm telling you, I found this out about 8, 9 years ago, and I did it and it worked. Now, it's not the funnest list in the world, but once again, if you're looking for speed to get a deal done in 30 days, you've got to find the most highly motivated seller leads you can humanly possibly find. This is why I'm giving you this list. I could point you to a piece of software and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it'll still work, but you will not get the speed. We are substituting some money for speed. Why? You need to get your rent paid. You need to get somebody paid off. You need money for your family. You need grocery money. This is the way to go. And then the last one is liens. You can pull this up publicly, or you could use listrei.com and easily pull that stuff up. But guys, if you truly want to do this, you've got to understand that you have to flip the strategy backwards. And a lot of people call this reverse wholesaling. Honestly, this has been around a long time. I'd like to tell you I invented it. I didn't. I love when people say they invented it. This has been around since the 50s, guys. This is nothing new to me, you, or anyone else. And remember, you got to find the buyer first. You got to locate and home in on a small radius area, and then you just start marketing. It is in the reverse order. Now, the plus sides on it, you can get a deal done. Honestly, you can get a deal done in as little as a week if you got the right buyer, and you get paid right away. The downside is the spread's not going to be as big. But when you're starting out, sometimes you just need a few wins to make stuff work. So let me jump back to the comments here and give a shout out to everyone. I appreciate you all in here. So remember, it's just me in the studio. So it's I don't have a full staff that works this stuff. I do have people behind the scenes before and after, but I like to do it by myself because I kind of feel it's a little bit more authentic to do it that way. So let's see here. Angel says, I want a deal. And that's where you got to start. But you need to go get that deal. So Deborah, if you want to avoid going through third party like MLS and stuff like that, you've got to go to the government list. Hands down, and you got to go straight to the owner on off-market property. So let's see. So if you want to get on the one-on-one, just click that link. I still have some availability. Here's a good one. Ready? Ken says, hey, Rick, I got a motivated seller for Fort Myers with a mobile home for sale, but doesn't come with the land. Bye-bye. You can't do anything with it. It's like buying a car without the land. If you have a mobile home, unless you're buying the entire mobile home park, it doesn't make sense. If you don't get the land with it, you're basically buying an automobile, just so you know. The land is what truly has the value when it has a mobile home and a piece of land on it. And a lot of these, some of these parks is you pay like a rent pad fee, anywhere from $200 to $800 a month. And that constantly keeps going up, and it strips the benefits of owning a mobile home, because you're never going to get ahead because it's going to keep raising it. So the only person that makes more money is the person that owns the land. So you definitely always want to own the land in real estate unless you have some sort of commercial play. But so go find one with land on it. That's the key. So when it says, love what you guys do, how do you pull the credit card debt list if you can't find the lien section on the public records website? There is no public records for credit card exactly. It would be under lien, and then you're looking under like major banks. So what I would do is you're going to have to use one of the subscription services. It's relatively cheap. It's under $100 a month. Listaria.com. Use the 7-day free trial period that I'll scroll across the bottom here. And you can do some hunting and learn how to do it before you buy anything. That's going to be the best way to do it. So I put it on the bottom there for you. So hopefully that helps you out. Pulling up liens is a long, exhaustive process. I like to use a third party because they filter it out for you. But remember, if you're going to get very, very specific, you have to really pay top dollar for those lists. And you don't want to go off just credit card alone, because there's a lot of people that have huge credit card balances that are in default. So, what's up, Shelby? Shelby says, I found you on TikTok. The least likely place you're going to find an old guy like me on TikTok. It says, I'm super young, been very interested in it. Is it worth it for a career type? No offense, I'm just very new to this. Listen, Shelby, if you want unlimited potential in your life, if you are concerned what's happening with the United States government, God, I hope they're not watching this, and you understand that the public school system is pretty much an entrapment, so you're a slave to pay your taxes to the United States government the rest of your life, you're in the right place. What I would do is find out as much information as possible. You got to understand, most people on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everything, they're there to take money out of your pocket. I'm not looking to take money out of your pocket. In fact, I exposed my son at 14, 15 to the financial reality of the world. And at 16 was just the right time for him to take action. And just for the time he was 16 on, he's always been on his own. Now, I've always supported and gave direction, but honestly, by the time he was 17, 18, he was 100% on his own. He still decided to finish college out at a very, very high level. And you can make that choice too. College is just an extension of regular academics. But that's it. If you want to be a wholesaler in real estate, college, in my opinion, is pretty much a waste of time other than connection. So if you can get grants on a full ride and have the United States government pay to college, knock yourself out. But a career, the thing is, if you think $1 million is a lot of money, then you're probably more fit for a job. So you're young. So educate yourself. Find out what's going on in the real world. I got no problems with jobs. I did a job for 12 years. You will pay the highest tax bracket. You basically trade your time for money. And one day you get to retire, enjoy yourself for 10 or 15 years. So why not start enjoying yourself in your 20s? And if you want to do something like that, it's 100. I've been doing this I'm on my 21st year. It never stops. I make a ton of money doing this and I love what I do. So I worked in a job and I made a lot of money, but I was absolutely miserable. So I love to fish. I love to spend time with my family, and wholesaling has allowed me to do that. So the reason I go on TikTok is really just to try to expose some of the younger people that you have like real options. Because everything I see on TikToks, it's either you're doing an Amazon FBO site, or you're doing like a trading services. I'm not even going to use the name because I'll probably get in trouble. It's all BS. Nobody makes money doing that. The only people who make money are the ones who run the affiliates for the MLM part of it. So you've got to find something. Real estate's been proven over time. You just got to find people that need to sell their house discounted. And my favorite thing is people like, how do you know, why would somebody ever sell you a house discounted? Listen, the average American is 2 paychecks away from being completely broke. And most people never, ever pay off their mortgage. By my 3rd year of wholesaling, I paid off my entire mortgage. Like, it's like unheard of. All my friends, family, everyone, they still have a mortgage. I don't understand it. So I'm here to tell you, you have possibilities. You can do anything you want. The reason I go on TikTok, because I get a lot of crap for going on there, is to open up people's minds just like yours. And if it works, then great. You got to take the next level step and figure out how to do it. My son figured it out at 16, which is young. Don't get me wrong, but By the time you're 13, 14, you have the capacity in your brain to do whatever you want. What I'm saying is don't be a robot like the rest of society. If you want to do something different, you're definitely in the right place. If wholesaling rings to you and you want to find out more about it, then I'm a great influence on you. But even better, check out my son, Zach Ginn. Check out his YouTube channel. I think he'll resonate with you. He's a little bit younger, but I'm his dad, just for full disclosure. Okay. Hold on here, guys. I got to let the beast out. Okay. I take care of the old man after hours here. That's my dog. I've had him in the family forever. Come here. He loves hanging out. He's looking for Zach, but Zach's not here. So, okay, let's jump on. Stan, if you're around, I'm going to pull you on.
Yeah.
What's up, Stan?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I don't know if I'm on. Okay, great.
You're on, man.
I want to say thank you for all the value you've been sharing. My camera looks a bit fuzzy. I'm actually doing this out of Istanbul, Turkey. I'm originally Nigerian.
Awesome.
I started out about 5 to 6 weeks ago.
I'm listening. Keep going, Stan. I got to let the dog.
All right. So I chose to start out with wholesaling land because I felt like it will be easier for me since I'm out of the US. I initially tried to start out in North Carolina, choosing the supply area, because I did some research on some land websites and saw that it had a reasonable amount of land listings. And then at some point I changed my mind and decided to,
okay.
After pulling a list from PropStream, I decided that seems to be the best place to land it. And I chose Southwest Florida. I started out in Lehigh and Cape Coral. I spoke to a couple of cash buyers and builders, and they told me what they wanted, what they were looking out for, how much they were paying for land there. But the thing is, I pulled the code violations list and the high equity list and tax delinquent list. I was able to pull the liens, but I couldn't really use a lot of that because we had mostly LLCs and trusts there, and I had difficulty skip tracing them because I was doing it manually and calling manually as well. Mm-hmm. So while doing that, I found a vacant lot that had a fire damage property on the other lot. So it was supposed to be 2 lots. They seemed to be interested in selling, but the prices were just unrealistic. The market land value for the lot was $25,000. I negotiated up to the assessed value, which was $25,000, but that deal didn't go through. It's still there. The expectations are high. It's about 5 siblings who inherited the property from their parents. I also had another deal that I got from my code violations list. I was lucky on this particular deal because it was some dude that was trying to sign the contract on behalf of his mom, claiming that he had the power of attorney. Yeah. And then I realized that this particular lot was also listed by a realtor. So I reached out to the realtor and was like, I didn't intend to get around you, but this is the situation. What's going on with the lot? Because it had been listed for over 180 days. And even though I had negotiated with the son, I had to submit the offer again. That deal didn't end up going through because the old lady who owns the lot wanted market prices. So I wouldn't have been able to make even $2,000, which was my intention and expectation. That deal fell through. I got another one that I'd been following up for over 6 to 7 weeks. This particular man had 4 different lots, and I was interested in buying one, but he was only interested in selling all of them as a package, the entire portfolio. And I structured it in such a way that I would have made probably $4,000 from the first deal and probably nothing else on the other deals, which was okay for me.
Yeah.
But then I think he played me by, coming up with antics like, oh, somebody else offered me $50,000 for the 4 of them.
Yeah.
And even though my profit margins were going to be smaller, I found a more experienced wholesaler in that area. And I shared the deal with him, and it looked like we were going to make $4,000, which would have been $2,000 each. And that was all I wanted. I didn't want so much. I just wanted to do one deal. He ghosted me afterwards. Now he would ghost me. He would take calls from sometimes. He'll say he's in Jamaica.
Which one ghosted you?
The one with the 4 lots.
Oh, the seller ghosted you.
Yeah, the seller ghosted me. Yeah, I thought I had built rapport to a certain extent because he has Airbnbs out in Jamaica. I have some Airbnb experience. Then all of a sudden, after sending the contract and reminding him every other day, he just went AWOL like that. So that deal is out of the way. Currently, I have only one deal. This deal, I don't know how it's going to end. This is someone who owns a home in Cape Coral. He wants to sell this home because his son has been in that home, and he had problems with his son. So he just evicted the son this past week. We've been speaking for over a month, and he also has a lot that he wants to sell. I'm hoping that when I speak to him later today, that I should be able to get a deal. With all this happening, I've been discouraged because I've been doing this full time, and I even have a VA who's working for me for free. I mean, my friend, I wouldn't call him a VA.
A good friend.
Yeah, I have a friend who's doing this as well, with the hopes that when we make something out of this, he's going to continue working with me. So I've been discouraged because I need to land my first deal as soon as possible. And it seems like the margins with land are not so great, especially in Lehigh and Cape Coral, because when I call sellers, they're like, "You're the 10th person calling me today," and I'm like, okay. So I'm asking now, should I switch my plan? Because what I want to get out of this call is I want to leave this conversation with a plan that I can follow, like exactly to land my first deal in the next 30 days. So I'm asking if I should continue with land, or I should be more open-minded towards wholesaling houses as well.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions.
Yes,
how long have you been attempting to wholesale for? How long?
Since December 30th.
Okay, so 3 months roughly.
Yes.
Just under. Okay, that's fine. What attracted you to wholesaling in the first place? Why are you doing it is my question.
Great question. I love the fact that my successes are going to be dependent on me, like whatever input I make. And I like the fact that I'll be able to do something that is quite scalable in the sense that, like, I can be able to make some input and then 10x the outcome, which is the returns I'm going to get. Like, I don't see too many people making 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month. I want to have a certain level of financial freedom ASAP, to be able to take care of the people I care about, and also to travel a bit and just, be less under pressure.
I got it. And this is unbiased. You can tell me who taught you how to wholesale. I don't care if it's me or a combo, or like, where are you getting most of your information on learning how to wholesale?
I stumbled into your channel, and then I spent the entire week and the rest of the month binging on different models, and I started hopping on live sessions, and I tried to follow. Yeah.
Well, I'm going somewhere with this. So like so guys, everybody know when I do these lives and these one-on-ones, it's never to embarrass you.
Yeah.
And number two, the more you tell me the truth, the better you're going to get an outcome. If people BS me, you're going to get an answer that's not applicable to you. So I don't do that. The reason I do it is because a lot of people get different directions. Well, I found this guy on TikTok and that, and it's okay. The discovery process, I don't care how you got here. But at some point, you got to grab something by the horns and go, okay, I'm going to commit to this plan and do it. Because if you try to do it, the one thing, so you're located in what country again?
Istanbul, Turkey.
And born and raised there?
I was raised in Nigeria.
Got it.
Yeah.
And are you there with your family?
No, I'm just here alone.
Okay. So guys, I want you to understand. So let me ask you, did you learn how many languages do you speak, by the way?
I speak English and a little French.
Got it.
And
So
sometimes, yeah.
he's in a foreign country using wholesaling to get further ahead. So I just want to let you know, there's a lot of people in this live that they think it's hard in the United States. The problem with hard is what you gauge up in your head. End of story. The one thing I'll tell you is you got to stop putting a limit on what your profit margins are because it's all in your head. I'm just telling you, 1,000. If you say 1,000, 2,000, you're never going to make more than that on a deal because it's built in your subconscious mind. So you got to remove that first. I don't care if you make 1,000 or 100,000. You just got to put the deals together. Number two, how many people you think you've talked to over the last 3 months in wholesaling on average, like in total? Even people who hung up on you. How many?
I make close to 100 or 150 outbound calls, at least 150 to 200 every day.
Yeah.
The problem is that I was calling all the numbers, including the landlines. So that was slowing me down. And I'm also hand dialing and skip tracing manually. So it takes me a lot of time. I've upgraded now. Today I just got I'm getting a module dialer subscription.
All right. Okay. Well, that was going to be my other suggestion to you. So here's the deal. Land, single family homes, you have enough experience. You've probably talked to over 5,000 people based on the numbers you told me already.
Yeah.
Close to it. So you're definitely not scared to talk to people. I know that, right, Stan?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
So this is the biggest problem most people have in the United States. They're very fearful to do the cold calling part. So now you using an auto dialer, which should triple your efficiency.
Yeah.
The thing is, I do not be limited to land because land in theory, a lot of people, well, it's just easier. It's land, you can get out of the deal, you can get into the deal, but land's going to typically have smaller profit margin. It's not 1,000 or 2,000, but I would tell you right now, drop Florida. Just get it off your list. Okay. It's hard in Florida. I'm in Florida. I'm in this backyard. It's brutal. Yeah. Why? Because there's very little land left. And so it's getting bid up. And the further, just so you know, the further you go in southern in Florida, the worse it gets. All the way down to the Keys in Miami. And then I'm up in the middle of the state and then even up in North Florida. So you got to find areas that people are moving to or gravitating to in the United States that's still affordable. The really cool part is all that data is at your fingertips. It's really all there. Now, me and Zach have done countless videos. I mean, recent videos on markets you want to explore. So find a market that you can do both land and single family homes and just go for it because the single family homes should give you the $10,000 margin because you're going to have to take one $10,000 one to start covering some of your costs to run your systems and make sure your friend doesn't leave you for good.
Yeah.
Because 1,000, 2,000, you're not going to be able to sustain it. I can tell you right now, you'll have to get out. So I would do a combo. Anywhere in the southeast part of the United States is really good. And I'm going to make suggestions. So
please.
Guys, you need to go back and research the markets. Like me and Zach even did videos on this, but Alabama, Tennessee, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, like look at these price points. They're still obscene. They're really low. In my opinion, I like Ohio, but there's some reason there's more investors in Ohio than any other state in America. I don't know why. So, but Ohio's still cheap. You can still get a house. Stay away from Detroit because it's very market specific, in my opinion. But outside Detroit, parts of Michigan's really well. But remember, they get a very hard winter. They're getting ready to come out of that. So I've just given you some ideas. You can go back and rewind it. Get out of Florida. You're going to struggle with it. Now, I'm just going to hit you in the face and tell you what your biggest obstacle is going to be. What do you think your biggest obstacle is when you talk to these people?
A lot of the time, I try to use the MCTP framework, and then I speak to people to try to understand their motivation for selling, and they get mad. They're like, "Oh, you called me, make me your offer," and sometimes there's that friction in trying to connect with them to build their rapport.
No, I agree. So the biggest thing you have to do is You just got to work on the art form of the connect. Listen, cold calling's obtrusive. It's tough and it's a challenge, and you got to survive the first minute of the phone call.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to, unfortunately, the American culture is very different than a lot of other countries. We're like really nice, fun-loving people and nasty at the same time. I don't know how else to say it, but that's just how America is. Like 1 minute someone loves you, and the next minute they're snapping your head off. Unfortunately, you're getting the snapping your head off right off the bat. So I'm going to tell you what your biggest obstacle is going to be your accent. And I tell it out of truth and love for you because you actually speak the language really well. I know you understand it. So spend some time just rehearsing your voice. Like there's certain times if I close my eyes, I think you're here in America. And then when you speed up, I can tell you're in a different country. People are going to use that as a weapon against you. It's just the truth. So the only thing you can do to help with it is remember the way we speak is just native to where we grew up. And if you ever notice, like if you take somebody, like if you go to Europe, everybody comes to Europe to America, we think they got a funky accent. And then it's vice versa when Americans come over. You think I have a crazy accent, right?
Yeah.
To a point.
No,
so it's a learn. So here's what you got to understand. It's a learned behavior. So if you really want to be successful and take advantage of this wholesaling market, I'm just telling you, it is a skill set. You need to take at least 2 hours a week and study. Now, here's the really cool part. You're not the only guy doing this. There's tons of people doing this stuff. So go ahead and study and figure it out. I will tell you, when you talk slow, you sound like an American. When you talk fast, you sound like you're from a foreign country. And I'm just giving you a wild, honest observation. And if you work on that, because people, here's the reality. Now, I can't speak for all the other countries, but Americans pass judgment very, very quickly. And that's the biggest obstacle you're coming up. I love that you're fearless. And your fearlessness with a Mojo Dialer is going to give you the numbers you need. You need to figure out how to mask. Now, I'm not telling you to hide your personality. It's just the accent and work on it. Why do you think some people come over from Africa and they become movie stars and they speak like perfect Americans? They practice. Some people hire a speech therapist. You don't need to do that. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube that you can do it for free. But it's a skill set. It's a muscle. And if you don't practice it, then you got to hold yourself accountable. It sucks. I think it's ridiculous, but it's the truth, right, Stan?
Yeah, it is. And I appreciate this feedback from you because.
So when you slow down, I can't tell. When you speed up, I can tell. So you've got to practice that skill set. And if you have to talk at a slower pace with everyone, do it until you master it. Because I don't want you to lose who you are. I think listen, the gift you have from a foreign country doing this, like you're my type of person. Because a lot of people, the truth of some of the most successful people in the United States are immigrants or people from another country because they see opportunity and they're like, I would kill to have this opportunity. And you're trying to do it from a distance, which I think is amazing. So we're in a global economy. I'm telling you, mix the two. Number one, switch your market. Stay away from Florida, California, and New York.
Yeah.
And Illinois. Those are no-nos. So the Southeast to parts of Pennsylvania, stuff up there, maybe Michigan, but not Detroit. And then attack. If land cups on it, great. You're not scared of land, but just go to the single family homes and find somebody who wants to sell their house.
Yeah.
But just work on your accent so they don't pass instant judgment on you. Because a lot of people go, well, I can have a VA that has a foreign accent, and they'll go, well, they'll make 50,000 calls and I'll still get 1 or 2 deals. I'm like, it's a terrible number. If someone just spent time with them on their accent, they probably get 5 to 10 deals. So I'm just telling you,
I appreciate that.
You've gotten through the hardest part. You really do. And honestly, what the problem with land is there is a lot of BS going on with it now. A lot of people are scamming phone numbers. And the thing is, just get a contract and give it to a title company. And don't waste your time trying to vet people because either they own the land or they don't. And you're going to find out real quickly if they don't own the land.
True.
And honestly, on land right now, guys, if it sounds too good to be true, just put it under contract and give it to a title company. Let them sort it out. I'm tired of hearing about all these scammers on land. I have the same problem. It's ridiculous. Why? Because a lot of people buy land and they forget about it. I've done it too. And people try to sell. You can't sell land without someone's consent. So most people trying to buy the land, they're like, just send me $5,000 and then I'll carry a note for the balance. Like, no, unless you can transfer the title. So Here's the plan. Lose Florida. I'm telling you right now.
Okay.
Open up to land and single family homes and research the markets that's best going to fit. You can easily reverse any wholesaler's market. And number 3, just work on your speech, because I think it will get past that judgment of that first 30 seconds of the phone call. If you do all 3, you got the rest of it all packed in place. And stop trying to vet people. Just let a title company do it. Once you have a contract, it's his problem. And if somebody enters into a contract and they ghost you, they got to deal with the title company, because you're not going to release it until they talk to you. And that's how I leave it to them in the end. I go, listen, I go, hey, Stan, I don't know what's going on, but like we entered into an illegal binding agreement. You got to call me, because we've got to clear this matter up, because you're under obligation.
Yes.
So I go, I don't want to do lawyers and stuff like that, but if you go away, but remember, you can't sell that property until you settle up with me. Now, somewhat of an empty threat between you and me, but like you've got to give them some sort of rationale to call you back. You're doing everything else, and kudos for the way you're doing it. Just make those 3 changes, and I think you're going to see a drastic change in how you do it, because you've mastered the fear of cold calling, and you're going to solve the volume problem. The other 3, if you make those changes, it's fine. And just single family home, it's the exact same thing as land. It's just another layer, but it's like doing 5 or 10 land deals at once. And stop limiting yourself to what you can make. I've made $110,000 on a tiny little house. Why? Because they didn't want it anymore, and they didn't see the value in it. And I still took care of them. I made a great deal. And you seem like a nice guy where you want everybody to, I want you to do win-wins, but $1,000 or $2,000, you're not going to get ahead in wholesaling with that mindset. You got to change it. So you know what? When I started out wholesaling, somebody told me if it's under 10 grand, don't do it. Guess what? I never did a deal below 10 grand, like for the longest time. I'm like, well, who cares? You make 4 or 5. Like sometimes you just take money to get paid. But I've also made 6 figures. I was under contract for 8 months to make $1.6 million. I screwed it up because I thought I could do everything. I'm just telling you, there's no limit. It's endless in what you can do. So get rid of your limiting 1 to 2,000. That's the only thing. I know I didn't teach that. I know Zach didn't. So somebody's put that in your head, and I want you to get rid of it. I'd rather you just get one fat $10,000 deal in the next 30 to 60 days than try to get 10 $1,000 or $2,000 deals. It'll actually be easier.
True.
Okay.
Also,
so let me know which market you're going to do.
One more thing about land, because I think this would be helpful for some other people on the live.
Yes.
So I found out that people who own less than 5 lots would usually be motivated to sell.
Yeah.
Other than people who have a larger portfolio.
So,
and also people who have inherited land would be more motivated to sell than people who bought for investment purposes.
They don't want to pay the taxes on it. So guys, people that own 4 or less properties, game on. Once they own more than 4, they're in a nightmare. 21 years of, like, I'm telling you, I've only done like 3 deals with people that own 4 or more properties. Why? Because they're seasoned professionals, and they work you for information, and they love to find people just like Stan, and they waste your time. So the minute someone goes, well, I got a portfolio of 15 properties. Here's all I say. I go, which property do you want to sell the most today? That's it. I don't want to bid, because you're wasting your time. You have to be a realtor to do those numbers. So great advice on it. So Stan,
yes,
the next live we do, let me know the changes you made, and we'll go from there. Okay. I got to help some other people out here. I love what you're doing. Keep going.
This last question.
Yes.
How do you follow up with people who are interested in selling? Because it feels like maybe I did it too much. It felt like I was.
You're in the wrong market, Stan. That's all. And you know what? Unfortunately, that's part of the learning curve in wholesaling, especially when you're in a foreign country. It's just because you're not here, you don't you don't understand the different intricacies in state. But I promise you, in a few months, you'll know exactly where to go.
All right.
And so what you want to do is reverse engineer other wholesalers that are having success. How do we do that, Stan? What's the easiest way?
To go on groups to see what people have posted with regards to the deals they want to close.
Get on their cash buyers list and start proofing up. See the deals they're posting. Most of them posted illegally, like a realtor do. You'll see addresses, pictures of property, and offer prices, and then see if they close. And once you verify it, go attack those zip codes, because you already know they're having massive success there. And you're just taking the map to the gold. So you're trying to find the goal without the map, and that's your biggest challenge right now. Now, I never said it was going to be easy. I got to point you in the right direction. Yes. I'm telling you, some of those markets I told you, if you do it, if you can get past the accent part, you'll do amazing.
Okay, so I'm trying to split my marketing right now. I'm hoping that by the end of the week, I would have some SMS budget.
Okay, you got it, Stan.
I do it.
Okay, Stan, I got to help some other people on here. Make those changes,
yes.
And let's talk again. You know exactly where I'm at, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, I'll see you, bud. Deb, you there? Deb?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, Rick. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I spoke with you before, how you guys saying, okay, on PropStream, am I able to pull those government lists? Because here they don't have the list online. Here,
I'm here to give you the truth, right, Deb? So yes. Are you doing a local market or are you doing virtually?
A local.
You got to go and get those lists.
Okay.
There's no substitute. Listen, if it was as easy as an email, I would do everything that way. The problem is it's really easy to turn down an email because you're not really a person. A phone call is more personable. You might 50-50 in person. You have a high probability of getting it because I believe you're a charming person in person and you're a people person. And that's the difference between getting a list and not getting a list. To overcome resistance, you have to use persistence. And it's not about running people over, but it's just like you go there, they got a picture of the kids in the background, they've got the dog, they've got a motivational poster, and they're just regular people trying to get by. And they're not the government, they just work for the government. So if you say, listen, I'm just like you, I just want to connect with you, and you compliment them and you use your regular skills we teach you in freewholesaling.com, you're going to get a lot further. Because once you get those lists, wherever there's smoke, there's typically fire. Now, you can get a form, you can get a certain percentage of these lists through the software services, but they're not as accurate. They're very dated. And to be honest with you, remember, all this information comes from these government sources anyways. So if you can figure out how to get the list. So if you target 5 lists and you get 2 or 3 of them, you did amazing. That's what people. I've never told someone. So I've never gotten on a list 100%, even when I started out in 2005. So it's just like I'm just telling you, if you're local, just take the time to do it. So when I first started doing it, I got kicked to the door, and then I came back with a dozen beautiful Dunkin' Donuts. I probably ate one of them, to be honest, and I just buttered her up.
Okay.
And then every now and then I couldn't get the probates to save my life. I sent my wife in. She walked out with the whole freaking docket.
I heard you say that before.
I'm just like, but my wife's type, she can sweet talk anybody. And that sometimes it's just a switch of person and opposite sex. I don't know why some people like you, some people don't. You ever get that vibe? You go to someone and goes, he doesn't like me. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So my thing is between my work hours. So I would have to take off. I work the 8 to 5. Right. So
you're just gonna have to figure it out. But the idea is if you do so here's the key is when you do it once, find the road path to connect with them where you can do it via phone or like email. And so you got to make it count when you go visiting with them, because I'm gonna give you the truth here, Deb. Sometimes I have to do multiple visits and it kind of sucks. But whenever I do a new county, it's like, suck it up, Buttercup, and we all sit in the office like, who's going? And I have no qualms still going. Like I go and like so I used to have employees. We would used to I go, just turn your phone and record it. I want to hear what they say. And then we used it as like a training exercise. But sometimes you just connect with certain people and sometimes you don't. The biggest challenge you got to get past, this is public information, but you got to get past the privacy policy. And so what I do is teach you is you could just overcome 2 objections. You can usually get not whatever you want in life, but more times you'll win than lose. So if someone says, I'm sorry, you can't get that list, most people just pack their stuff up and leave. Why? I would do that if I was a government employee. If 10 people come and ask me for the list and 9 of them walk away when I reject them the first time and that one person's persistent and they won't leave me alone, I know eventually I got to give them the list. Let's just see how much I got to mess with them. And that's all we're doing, guys, at the end of the day when we're getting these lists. They are regular people in your community
Correct.
treat them as such. They don't work for you. Even though
Okay.
they work for me. They're real people with kids, pets, grandmas, grandpas. If you treat them that way, you usually get a mutual respect. It doesn't guarantee you'll get it every time. And then say,
Okay.
listen, if I need to get this in a month or two, what's the easiest way so I don't bug you? I know your time is precious, and I know you're overworked and underpaid here. How can I do it without bothering you again? And that's the key when you go forward. And then sometimes you can get a year or two without ever going back again. I'm not telling you to go every time. I'm just telling you to go once and figure out how to crack that private.
Make that connection. Okay.
They're just people. They're just people. That's all they are.
Okay. And my other question, well, I have one more after this. My other question is, how do you connect with people that have passed away? How do you connect with their family members?
Okay. Well, I thought you were like, I can't connect with the other side because I've tried. But if you're trying to connect with the family members,
yeah.
How do you connect with them? It's just there's only a few ways you can do it. Phone.
No. I guess building the rapport. What do you say?
Okay. So the actual rapport connection. Honestly, first of all, I'm extremely respectful whenever I call someone in probate, because I got to be honest with you. For the longest time, I never called people in probate because, to be just raw with you, I was scared to. I go, man, because if you've ever had a family member die, it's the last thing I would want to feel like I'm an ambulance chaser type of deal. So my son actually says, Dad, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities if you don't call these people. I'm like, you know what? You want to do it? Knock yourself out. I think you're just going to get screamed at the entire time. He proved me wrong. He proved me 100% wrong. Okay. And that's when you always have to be in a learning mode in life, because once you think you know it all, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, you're in big trouble. Yeah.
The reason was, by the way, I had a 16-year-old kid explain this to me. You ready? He says, Dad, you can help out more people if we just reach out on the phone. We're not going to hurt them. We're just trying to help them. And the ones that want to work with us, we'll just move on with their lives. And he was 100% right. Okay. So when they call you from a letter, to be brutally honest with you, it's an easy connection, in my opinion, because they're reaching out to you. And they're only reaching out to you for two reasons. Number one, to chew you up, tell you don't write them again. Okay, no big deal. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. By the way, I look at every phone call as an opportunity. Number two, they're calling to see what's up with Deb. Can she actually do what she says she's going to do? Okay. So an incoming call is much more, to me, it's kind of easier in a way.
Easier, yes. That's why I feel.
Now we're talking particularly about cold calling and probates, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to think warm call when you do a probate call. Okay? Because it's not if you've ever experienced that. We all have somebody associated with somebody passing away. It's a horrid feeling. And so if you're empathetic and you really care about people, you have to have it come through on the phone. And don't do any of that fake, I don't go on and on. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's simple to the point, because you don't know them. And I don't want a fake condolences sort of deal. Just do it once and be done with it. Don't go on for a minute or two. Oh, my aunt just passed away. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
The biggest thing you can do is just get them talking. And the more they talk, the better your success. I used to get a lot of crap because I used to go on 1 hour probate phone calls. I find when people talk, it's therapeutic for them and it makes them feel good. So they're just trying to understand to see if you're a shark. Most of them have in their mind to go, it's an investor. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to pound me with an offer. So number one, don't even talk about an offer on the house. Okay. Two, just get them talking. Hey, listen, I'm really sorry to hear that. Just simple. And then just let them talk and let them navigate the way. And then once they get into a few minutes, you can go into some simple qualifying questions. So what are you guys going to do with the house? Now, a lot of times they tell me, hey, we haven't made a decision what we're going to do with it. We're thinking about selling it, but we might keep it. If my sister gets approved for a mortgage, she'll take it over. That's great. Hey, do you have a mortgage broker you work with? 9 times out of 10, they never want it, by the way. So you just walk them through the process. But the more they talk, just have a conversation with them. And then eventually go, what's going on with the house? And they'll start to tell you. Now, if you get through that first phone call and you get 5 or 10 minutes, you're well on your way. All you're looking for permission is to contact them again. Okay. Once you do that, the second phone call is usually night and day. Hey, Deb, how you doing? I appreciate you calling me. I got some of that information you asked me about. And then that's when the first phone call, I just want to let you know I'm for real. I care. I'm human. And I want to help you out. And even if I don't buy your house, I'll help you out. That's it. And if you can think on that level, because every other investor is doing what? How much you want for the house?
Yeah.
Is it vacant?
Pounding. Like you said, pounding.
Yeah.
But
Can you sell it real quick? And
Yeah.
so I teach the one technique that made a tremendous difference. All you have to do is try to help them. Because when people go through probate, who do they go to for help? What's the first thing comes to your mind if you got to put a property through probate? Who do they seek for help?
I would think, the estate attorney,
lawyer.
real estate. Yeah.
You ever met a lawyer that's really helpful? I haven't.
No.
Like
I think
I
they
don't
drag
even
things
ask you,
on to
but
get more money.
They just, hey, I'll get you through the probate process. They're very sneaky. Why do you think one person pays for the exact same probate $12,000 and the other pays $1,500? Why do you think that is? Do you think it's more complicated?
Because they drag it out.
There you
these
go.
Properties that I see, they're not probate.
Yeah.
I look it up on a free, people finder, and that's how I find out the owner has passed away, but nothing has changed, but the taxes are being paid.
Yeah. So I will. So if you get a little bit more advanced, and I teach all this stuff, is I just say, listen, because they all bitch about the lawyer. So I kind of go, I finally went and go, they all have the same complaint. They're saying I can't sell it till the attorney is done with the probate. So I actually went to a judge and asked him this. He's like, oh, it's all BS. The judge said that to me. He goes, most lawyers won't tell you that you don't have to wait till the probate process is done. I'm just like, I'm just like this. I go, what? Are you kidding me? So then I went to a title company, and then I met and paid an individual probate attorney. He goes, yeah, it's the truth, but they don't want to tell you that because a lawyer feels like they're in control all the way to the end because they have more billable hours. Now, in some cases, it does make sense for complicated probates. Don't get me wrong.
Correct.
But for most simple probates, so I just simply go, what if I told you could sell that property before the probate's complete? Would you meet with me? And that's all I say. They go, how can you do that? I'm going to ask my lawyer. I go, listen, how about this? Why don't we just meet? Yeah, I'll get to know you. You get to know me. And if it works out, I'll tell you exactly how to do it. And you can even run it by your lawyers. That sound fair? And just simple conversations like that. All I did was take a common problem that all sellers had. The attorney told me I couldn't sell it till the probate's done. And you know what I did? So me being the curious little Rick I was in school, I asked a lot of questions and I questioned everything. And it didn't work out well when I was a child. I got a lot of trouble. Yeah. My mom thought I was crazy. But here I am now. I was told I would never get a traditional job, and it devastated me as a child. But my teachers are right. I was never meant to have a regular job. I want to go and push things hard as I possibly can. Ask my wife this. She's like, you push on everything. I go, it's just my personality. Okay. And so remember what I always tell you, when you go in wholesaling, accent what makes you special, unique, and different. Okay. I'm raw and authentic, and I push, and I'm very curious. Okay. I used to be called Curious George when I was young. They're like, man, you just don't stop. Yeah. So that's what I do here, and I help people out. Now, I don't run the attorney under the bus. Honestly, I don't want a relationship with the attorney at all, and you'll never get one. They're
no. Yeah, because you're not paying them. So yeah.
You connect with the seller. That's how you do it. So I want you to go back and re-watch this live and just practice the stuff. And if you want to hop on a live, I'll even role play with you. But you just help people out in problem. Every other investor is just like, either it's a realtor, I'll list it when the probate's done. But
these properties that I found, they're not in probate. I just looked it up.
Do they need to go through probate?
The young lady said she would get back with me.
It's even better. It's even better if they need to go through probate. Because you can strike a deal before they even enter in the probate. And then your options are unlimited. You can partner up with a probate attorney and go, listen, I'll pay the court fees up front. Knowing you're getting a house 50 cents on the dollar, it's well worth the $800 to $900 risk. And if you can't do it, call me. I'll fund it. I'll partner up with you. Okay. And then here's the deal is when the fees come through and it goes through, you already have a preset contract. It gets approved through the court system. And you can charge the attorney fees on the HUD. Now, sometimes I'm making such a big profit, I just eat it because it's the right thing to do. But sometimes if you're not making as big of a profit, go, listen, I'll front it, but you got to reimburse me on the HUD. And you do stuff like that. And then because a lot of people come to me and goes, Rick, the reason we didn't do probate, we don't have any money. I'm like, you realize The only thing stopping you from getting 50 grand is a $1,500 or $2,000 probate attorney's fee. Rick, I don't have the money. Okay. What if we struck a deal and if we can enter in a contract up front, as long as we agree to it, and then I get reimbursed at the closing? Is that something you're open to doing? That'd be great. So I guess giving you the two biggest problems I have. My attorney told me I couldn't sell it till the probate's done. Flat out lie. And number two, I don't have money to fund this probate. We're broke. Okay. Well, let's fix that. Are you willing to enter into an agreement before I do it? Here's the key is I'll run it by a title company and I'll even run it by a real estate lawyer or a probate lawyer. But if they don't enter into an agreement, I'm not going to waste my time doing any of that work because it's a lot of work. And I'm taking a bit of a risk. And here's how I look at it. If I have an 80% probability of taking it home, I can turn that $800 into $30, $50, $80,000 overnight. It's a great, and if you don't have the money, call someone like me. We'll just partner up on it. But you can do it yourself.
Okay. The last thing I saw on Wholesaling Houses for Real, someone put up the buyer. You know how we asked them for what do you call it?
Proof of funds?
Yes, and it didn't look real. So how do we know? Because he was
just look
asking,
at it. If it doesn't look real to you, it ain't gonna look real to anybody else.
I don't know what one looks like. That's what I was saying. When I looked at his, I don't know if it's real or not.
The best way, if you want a true definition of proof of funds, it's like a loose word. It's like, so it's what your definition is. So what you can do is just Google it and look, what would serve for a proof of funds. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to see a snapshot of a bank statement, or look for all 5 or 6 pages of a 1-month bank statement. And that's it. The problem is writing it on a letterhead. It's good as a pre-qualification letter. You can get anywhere online. You can go to Fiverr for $5 and get a legitimate, looking proof of funds. It's 100% fake and fraudulent. And I'd never accept. And then my favorite, now, if I have a bona fide attorney or a title company, understanding if they put it on their letterhead, they're at complete risk if it's bogus. They'll get sued. So those are the only ones I'll accept on a letterhead. Every now and then someone will say, I have a line of credit. Those are 50-50 because right now we have some economic issues and those line of credits can be pulled away tomorrow. Now, if it's on a bank letterhead and a branch manager or bank will write it, that's about as far as I go.
That's what he had. He had it on Wells Fargo on the site. It's the first thing on your site if you look at it now. And he was trying to figure out if it was real. I didn't know either. So that's what
So here's what I do. I want a phone number and maybe an address. I just want to call and verify. So if Deb writes me a check for $500, hopefully the bank's logo's on there, their address and their phone number. And then you can call the bank and go, hey, I have an account number. Can you verify if the funds are there? Now, guys, I used to work in a bank. I know this. You can do that. And a proof of funds should have someone. So if I call a proof of funds letter and the number's bogus or it goes to a Google Voice number, it's fake. And that's what you got to do.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, it's really easy to cook the books on people. Now, my favorite one, if you got one and you're sitting live with them, tell them to grab their phone and just give me a quick snapshot from your bank app. I can do it. I have 4 different.
It has no personal information on there. It has the balance. Gotcha. I got it.
But it's, at the end of the day, vetting's not 100%, but it's going to get rid. What you want to do is get rid of the complete liars and scammers. They won't go through that much effort. And honestly, if they get one from Fiverr, I guarantee the phone number is completely bogus and it's never going to so if I have a phone number from Wells Fargo and then it's got an international phone number, I know it's not going to work.
It's bogus. Yes.
I had one the other day of a Google Voice. My employee gave me, goes, hey, this guy says he can buy it. I'm like, are you sure? Because we've been struggling to move this property. And it went right to a Google Voice. I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. So you just get rid of the scammers and, the fake people, which unfortunately is a majority of the cash buyers, and go from there. Now, if you get a legitimate bank, a title company, or a lawyer, then I'll accept it. But I'm going to call and go, hey, just let you know, I got a letter on behalf of John Smith. He says he has $150,000 cash to buy this house. Can you verify this letter? And then I look at who signed it. Is Deborah Smith there? Can I talk to her? That's it.
Yeah. Okay. The name on there. Yeah. I don't think it had anyone's signature. So that's all I had.
That's crazy.
I'll let you hop on to the next person.
Yeah. They spit them out all the time. Let me know how it works out with the probates. But hopefully I pointed you in the right direction, but go back and watch the live again. It'll help you out.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Okay. let me answer a couple questions here. I don't try not to disregard anybody. Let's see here. Okay. You guys, not a ton of questions. Okay. There's room on the live here. Let me check on here. Robel, you there?
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
I just had a couple of questions.
Okay.
I just started a cold calling on Zillow. I already have
Got
a
it.
code violation list for one of the counties near me, but like I kind of want to get like my reps in before I go to the code violation. And then
Okay.
kind of similar to what somebody said earlier, like I'm just having problems with like the objections and stuff. Like I would like talk to them, try to build rapport, go through the MCTP and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it gets to the offer, they'll just repeat the number it was listed for.
Yeah.
Like when I ask them, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I can't go, but like a number like very close to this," and it's like on something that's like 300 something days or something like that.
So, Robel, how long you been doing this for?
Like actually calling and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe like a week, 2 weeks.
Okay. So, have you had a chance to go through?
For like months.
So, listen, you're in the right spot, and I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm here to help. So, like, don't worry. This is all for help. So, don't be nervous or anything. Have you gone through freewholesaling.com pretty much in the entirety?
Yeah.
So, I've always said, and I'm just going to tell you up front, when you deal with on-market properties, which is pretty much what you're doing, right, through Zillow?
Yeah.
It's more of a challenge. I'm not even going to hide it from you. I don't hide it from anyone. Why? Because they're trying to get top dollar, and you have to understand that going into. So you have to disqualify. You have to spend a lot of time disqualifying people and just find the few that even want to have a discussion. If you try to get every person on a FSBO Zillow to agree to your terms, it's going to be brutal because you already know they want retail. So it's a fight up front. Now, it doesn't mean there's not deals there, but you have to have a massive amount of quantity to make it work. Period.
I'm not going there just to like try to get a deal from there. It's like I saw like Zach said like get like 100 offers up, and then I have like some people I talk to in like the Facebook group that get your reps in before you go waste like good leads with code violations and stuff.
So I love it because you get repetition. So when I talked to Stan earlier, which is in a different country, he probably put in close to 10,000. I mean, if he's doing 150 today, he did it 3 months. He's around 10,000. Now he has some other challenges because he's not familiar with the United States. Because Florida's a hard market. Which state are you doing? You don't have to tell me exactly which market.
Virginia.
Are you doing it local or virtually?
Local.
So you're in the right market. I can tell you that. So
I'm not like near like Hampton and like that's like very far from me. So like I know that's like where the good spot is.
So Rebel, how old are you?
17.
I mean, that's awesome. So you've got to understand the first part is you just got to get the repetitions in. I think you're over the fear of like, you're not worried about calling anyone. So when you talk about objections, the problem is, so code violations are their own set, but if you're talking about Zillow FSBOs, the objections on those, correct?
Yeah.
They're going to be brutal. Like so the only thing you can do is kind of dance with them. But here's the key. If you gave me 1,000 like FSBOs on Zillow, I know for the most part, 950 of them are going to waste my time. I know it up front. So you have to go into it and just kind of cut into it and just, I guess, play with it. But like, so if you know 9 out of 10 people are going to reject you, you have to disqualify first before you even get into MCTP. It's just a waste of time. Because here's what they want to do. So the house is listed for 200,000. Well, the best I can do is 195. it's like literally a waste of time. And here's the other problem is a lot of wholesalers anchor what they think the ARV is based on what the seller listed the property for. It's a big mistake. I'm telling you, you have no idea. They're almost worse than realtors on what they list this stuff for. So they'll list it for $229 and the property's only worth like $180 retail. And then the wholesaler goes, well, I got them at $190, $195. I'm like, it's not a deal. Like, what's the ARV? So taking a seller just because they have it on the market. And honestly, if a property sat on the market for like 82 days, I promise you the ARV is well below that number that they have it listed for. So if I had to just do FSBOs, and I've done this before, it's painful. I don't like doing it, and it's hard. It's really easy up front because I got their phone number. I know the property's for sale. I have pictures. But they're just like this. They want to negotiate, what, 5-6%? 5-6% just means they just got rid of the realtor. That's all. And that would be a dream for most people. So I would focus on, have you pulled the government list?
I have one of the code violations lists.
So dude, go deep in that. You do better in pre-foreclosures, evictions, tax delinquencies, and probates. Because I'm okay with you practicing on like Zillow's, FSBOs, but honestly, you're going to have to rip through. I don't mean to scare you or anybody else on this, but you're going to have to go through 5,000 or 10,000 a month just to find a motivated seller, because the predominant part of them are retail sellers, and they're trying to skip the realtor. So their mindset, honestly, you might even be better going through MLS. And you know how much I hate MLS. I love off-market properties. Is it hard up front? Yeah, it's brutal. I got to get the list. I got to go somewhere to get it. I got to skip trace it, and I call. But I tell you what, guys, when I get a motivated seller, it more than makes up for the pain I have to go through. If you take on-market properties, it seems really easy up front, and that's why most people buy a course. But the back end's a nightmare. They're very hard to dispo, and most of the time they don't cut you a deal at all because there's little to no motivation. So you're 17. I didn't start till I was 33. You have a 16-year head start. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So you are in what we call the journey of wholesaling. Try to find the niche you think you're going to be best at. Have you tried driving for dollars?
So I was gonna go do the reverse driving for dollars with the code violations, and then do the driving dollars while I'm doing it.
So by the way, honestly, it's, in my opinion, I think it's kind of easy to get a deal that way, because once you see the house, you know the motivation's there. You just got to get them to tell you about it. And by the way, some people live in like terrible homes and they're okay with it. And unfortunately, we can't fix everybody. But this is my frustration with wholesaling. I love what you're doing. Like, you got guts. And let me ask you, how did you find wholesaling?
YouTube.
So, and what's your reason for wholesaling? What's your ultimate plan with it?
I don't really like school like that, so
Yeah,
it's like,
just like
it's
me.
much more interesting to me.
So you get it. So you're 17. So you're in the basic stages. You're right now learning wholesaling, and you got to find your navigation and your compass. A lot of people will teach you, just go on, do FSBOs and Zillows, and you can do it, but you've got to be a mass caller, like 5,000-10,000 volume, because most people you have to find someone when they just give up, and it's a pure timing thing, and it's hard, and it's just the truth of it. I would right now driving for dollars and reverse driving for dollars, and don't overlook the old school tactic of bandit signs. My son was 16 when he started bandit signs. He did his first 3 deals off bandit signs right off the bat. I was in shock. I was in shock. I didn't think they worked. I gave up onto it because I thought I knew everything about wholesaling. And there's nothing better than a young man like you to say, hey, listen, people still look at this crap, and they're really cheap. Don't go get them professionally printed. Do exactly what I tell you. Go buy like 10 or 20 signs. Go get a big black Sharpie marker and use the 3 lines. Put a virtual phone number on there. Sell your house today, any condition, anytime, any place, something like that. Just don't do we buy houses, and it works. So I'm telling you, I would just go to a direct market, straight to the seller, as opposed to the on-market properties, because you're not the only person with this frustration. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, but it does take a lot of volume. And so I'm okay with you practicing on it, but like, I think you're past the practice thing. You're not scared. You know the objections. And really, I do an entire video where I break down the 5 most common objections every seller is going to give you. And once you understand how to classify them, they don't scare you anymore. The real art in overcoming objections is how you deliver the return to it.
Yeah,
That's
I've been
it.
forgetting with this. Like I know, like I seen the video of like,
Yeah.
it's like
But
they're talking like very like straightforward.
Yeah.
With this thing, but I forget like in the moment
Yeah.
what I'm supposed
But
to do.
Robel, they didn't give you didn't have a sales class in school, did you?
No.
No, because your U.S. government doesn't think it's important. And that's what you got to understand. So knowing that, you got to go out and kind of learn it on your own. Now, here's the really cool part about wholesaling. This isn't like you're not selling used cars. You're not selling any of that crap. All you are is finding someone that's motivated and then showing them that you confidently can deliver. Because, by the way, your voice sounds good. You sound very confident. You're never going to have an issue on the phone. And then I always tell people, because Zach's biggest thing is like, well, what do I do if like I look really young? I'm like, dude, I'd kill to be your age. Like, use it as an asset. Don't use it as a liability. And that's the difference. We don't sell in wholesaling. We qualify people and we just walk them down a funnel and we help sellers get out of their own way. Period. Do you know how many like cats I've rescued? You know, I had one lady, I rescued 46 cats. Do you think I have a passion for cats? I got one cat in my house. I can't stand it. Don't tell my daughter. But I'm not a cat person. Like, they scratch, they shed. They're not nice to you sometimes. But the lady says, if you can help me relocate my 46 cats. It took me 3 months to do it. I learned more about cats than I ever want to know about it. Why? Because I took the human element of wholesaling and I helped her out. And that's what I want you to understand. That's what you're going to do. So I love what you're doing. I want you also to work on putting an inflection in your voice and being a little bit more dramatic, because when Zach started out just like you, he was very militant. Like, this is the way I'm going to call you. This is how I'm going to do it. So number one, you got to smile and create inflection in your voice because they know you're human then. And I got to tell you guys, with AI and stuff coming down, it's going to be crazy in the next few years. It's more imperative to get a grip on wholesaling now than it ever been, because this AI thing, I have to pay attention to it, because a lot of times you're not even know if you're talking to a real person anymore, and people are going to have to start overcoming that objection. And I got to figure that one out too. So the driving for dollars and reverse driving for dollars is probably going to be your best bet. Period.
Right.
So if you want to keep doing that, it's fine, but I'm giving you a more direct path, and I don't think it'll drive you as crazy. And you just got to keep observing and learning. Go back to the video where I teach you about the 5 objections. There's only 5 people can give you. That's it. It's simple. And once you, oh, okay, he's talking about price. Here's how I'm going to overcome it. Oh, he's talking about time. Here's how I'm going to overcome it. Oh, he's talking about my credibility and confidence. Here's how once you know you can only reach the 5 places, knock it out of the park. Because you're worried when you get the objections, you're like, okay, how do I know the answer to this back? After a while, you can either go through 10,000 sellers, which you'll know how to answer every question, or you can memorize the objections and just constantly have someone fire off on you. So do you get any family support with this? Your family, they think you're crazy?
At first, but my dad's letting me do it now.
Yeah. So listen, you are making your own future. So do not rely on anybody else, because it's you and you only at the end of the day, and you make the decision. Dude, I was a terrible student, dude. You have no idea. Like, I had to like beg for community college to take me in. I was so bad. Why? Because I just operated differently. I thought differently. But honestly, it's a good thing, man. You're young. You can figure it out. You don't have to wait till you get a mortgage. You go through the whole thing, and then you have to work nights and weekends to get it done. There's a lot of people that have to do. I had to do that because I screwed up. I love what you're doing. I love the age that you're doing in it. And just be wildly curious and go and understand, if somebody pitches you, go, hey, here's how you wholesale while you sit on your laptop computer on the beach and you don't have to do anything. It's BS. And please don't buy into AI will do everything for you. AI will help you, but it's never going to close people for you. There's no way that's happening in the next 10 years. It will help you lead management.
Code violations.
Yes.
So like when I was looking at them, like it was like in a PDF, and it was like I had like different types. And then like, do I still call like the ones that are like structural damage? Like, I don't know what zoning means. I don't know what that means.
So zoning means a lot of times people are running like a business out of a residential house, and the neighbors are complaining about it. I always look for structural, landscaping, and like if people have boarded up windows or blue tarps. Past that, you're wasting your time. Like the guy who stores like the 4 motorhomes on the side of the home, he's never selling.
Yeah.
Where's he going to put
I
his
know, like the
motorhome?
ones with the vehicle. Like,
Yeah. So what they'll do is they'll
vehicles.
have code classifications on them, and we only do 3. And it depends on
but
which county you do.
out of like the 200, like I think vegetation is for grass, right?
Yep. And that's so.
And it's like 3 of them are grass. So like,
Wow.
and
It's
then there's like graffiti and stuff, but it's not like most of them are like zoning or like
Yeah, so-
parked cars, something like that.
yeah. So part of it, Rebella, is trial and error. And so once you start to do deals, you're like, okay, where did that one come from? That's how I found probates. Guys, it took me 10 years to find probates. Why? Because I just went back and looked at the data. I go, man, what's my most profitable deals? My accountant goes, whatever you did on this one, do it again. I go, well, it's a probate. How'd you find that? I go, I don't know. I actually got it off driving for dollars. And then we decided to target probate. So you'll work yourself out with code violations. Just a lot of times I just ask the code violation office, whatever you want to call it, and go, hey, this classification, what does that mean? Is it like tall weeds, or is it just like weeds in the grass type of deal? Because like sometimes we have posh neighborhoods, they report people for like a 2-inch piece of dead grass. Like you're wasting your time on that stuff. So like one of my favorite one is knocked over mail receptacles. So like in our county, if your mail receptacle is knocked over more than 90 days, you get a violation. Now, most people want their mail, and they'll put a mailbox. You can even stick one in the ground for like $25. So when they can't put up the mailbox, I know there's an issue. It means they're not getting their mail. They're ignoring their mail. They're probably behind on everything else, and they got bigger issues than that. And I love to get those, but we don't get a lot of those. Favorite. So you got to rebel. Just keep doing what you're doing. I would just redirect for driving for dollars and then reverse driving for dollars. I think you're going to have much greater success at it.
I just wanted
Okay.
like a plan to go because I'm on break right now, on spring break. So I'm ready.
Get the government list and find the list so the only ones you don't do reverse driving for dollars are probates because the person's deceased and it's not a good look. You understand what I'm saying? Outside of probates, they're all wide open, all the government lists.
All right.
Code violations, evictions, everything. Just go for it.
Okay.
Okay, man. Update me. You got it.
All
Hey,
right.
Rebel, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Smile. There you go. I'll see you, bud. So, guys, a lot of times, I hit the wrong button there. A lot of the stuff it's just common sense. And by the way, I love it. I got people from another continent doing wholesaling. I got 17-year-old kids. I got kids younger than that. Why? Because they've realized they want to take ownership for their future and they don't want to rely on anyone other than themselves. You can't be a victim in wholesaling. So when you have challenges, sometimes you got to look at it and go, okay, this isn't working. What am I doing wrong? And a lot of times they're just subtle shifts, but I'm here to help. And that's why we kind of do these live streams. And guys, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. We give it all the way 100% free. The only ones that do it, and it will always be that way for you. And guys, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, the Rick Ginn channel. Those of you guys want to check out my son's channel, it's Zach Ginn. And then I will be back on Thursday to the Flip with Rick channel. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube on there. And guys, make sure you give me a like and a thumbs up if you appreciate this information. I love working with you guys. And listen, just go out and get a deal. Be accountable for your own success. You are the difference maker. Nobody else does it. It's going to be you that does the work. Go out and